The primary visuals for this video were created using Hero Forge. The nation of Invardia is the most advanced nation in all of Vanquera. Their highly advanced technology allows them to build structures taller than any other culture in the world, forming spiraling towers of incredibly elegant design. The elites reside in the tallest and most ornate structures in all of Vanquera, located in central Invardia. Over the last few decades, Invardia has started to run low on available land in their plateau. Expansions outward are becoming exponentially more costly. Thankfully, a recent advancement in mana tech may allow them to start expanding vertically with floating structures and land masses, though it remains experimental. Scientists believe it to be just around the corner. The currency of Invardia is the Invardium bit, which are cubic beads of metal infused with mana such that they stick together. The founding stone is the central core of Invardia. When Yedith Kimyern first discovered the founding stone, it was nothing more than a giant floating island in the sky. It was hundreds of feet across, mana falls pouring off of it into a lake beneath. The Lake of Mana, referred to as the Lake of Purity, would illuminate the surroundings at all times, but was best seen late at night. Atop the founding stone is the Equiwood tree, towering a few hundred feet over the base of the founding stone. Beneath the Equiwood tree is a chamber flooded with mana, where the White Lady resides. The bottom of the founding stone floats several stories above the Lake of Purity, giving enough room for the founders to settle down and form a civilization around this lake. They dared not traverse across the lake as they saw it as far too sacred to use for mere transportation. They used the provided mana to expand, growing at a significantly greater rate than other nations thanks to the unlimited supply the White Lady granted them. After centuries of work, the founding stone now resides deep beneath the surface of Invardia. Due to various methods of distribution, the mana that would have once ended in the Lake of Purity no longer does so, being used up in a myriad of other ways. What little that manages to trickle down to the base maintains only a small portion of the once grand Lake of Purity, now reduced to but a pool. This pool is now called the Pool of Origin. Estabula district is one of Invardia's largest districts. Estabula district is where Undule Munatus calls home. It is one of the first districts ever founded, being one of the closest to the founding stone. It is also the largest, stretching from the outer ring of anchor stones to where it shares a border with the Takari at the mountains. Estabula district was attacked by Enem Aluard, their ex-abumen. Menetaria district is the oldest of the surface districts, being founded atop the founding stone early in Invardia's history. This district was made around the Equiwood tree, where it can be seen towering above the city skyline in all its shimmering, nacreous prismatic glory. Deep within the founding stone resides the White Lady, supplying her endless mana for the masses to indulge in. Underton district is believed to be the oldest district of them all. Underton wasn't always called Underton. It was initially just called Invmark, meaning place of infinity, but was retroactively named Underton as it was overshadowed, literally in this case, by what was built over it. Kimyern district was named after Yedith Kimyern himself. Kimyern district was founded shortly after Yedith's death, and was named to honor him and his legacy. Invardia's undercity is the slums of their civilization. It is a crumbling wasteland crawling with the vagrants of Invardia. The Undercity has been long abandoned since the discovery of the Founding Stone back in Yedith Khmer's time. It is multiple stories high, encompassing the pool of origins that had once been the Grand Lake of Purity. Invardia's history is over a century long, involving a number of wars in which they have participated. Invardia was founded by Yedith Khmer and his followers, who sought to form a haven for humanity and its upbringing in Vanquera. Upon coming across the Founding Stone and all the beauty around it, they decided that this was where they wanted to start a civilization. Together, they built the beginnings of what would become the Undercity, then found a way to ascend to the Founding Stone and built a town atop it. They expanded and expanded, constructing bridges out to the other nearby floating stones, called anchor stones, then later reconstructing those bridges with better materials. The Yedith Council was formed in Yedith Khmer's honor to govern and protect the then burgeoning nation. If the claims of notorious conspiracy theorists are to be believed, the first ever Yedith Council members became corrupt, becoming mana deities to protect themselves. Modern checks and balances had yet to be put in place, leading to the White Lady confronting and defeating each of them. She would imprison them in a glacier far from where they could influence Invardia, becoming the prisoners of Mirtragard. Invardia continued to push with their advancements. They invented all manner of new technologies. The Yedith Council started the Invardia Militia Legion, which would go on to serve and protect Invardia for centuries to come. The area between the bridges was filled in with supported land over several decades, until there was a flat plain on which a new city could be built. They built multiple layers of land up one at a time to form a sturdy foundation on which to build their new city, until eventually the topmost layer was strong enough to withstand the towering structures they wanted to construct. The Equawood tree continues to be visible as part of the Invardium skyline, illuminating the nearby skyscrapers and clouds above. This took over a century and a half to construct, and was only possible with the White Lady's mana. As Invardia continued to prosper, the Takari wished to take advantage of this to allow their own civilization to grow. They placed themselves in the nearby wilderness, just beyond the mountains encompassing the Founding Stone. Eventually, the Takari would become almost completely autonomous thanks to their ritualistic practice of creating mana deities to protect and serve them. They had participated in the practice for centuries, but once they could get a steady flow of mana from Invardia, their growth exploded exponentially. Usura's assault was an event that greatly shaped how Invardia would protect themselves from threats long into the future. While Mecha Beast had attacked Invardia before, none were as pivotal as Usura's assault. Since its founding, Invardia has been ruled by the Yedith Council. The Yedith Council is a collective of individuals deemed fit to rule over Invardia. The Yedith Council regularly take part in rituals known as ablution ceremonies, forcing them to comply with the desires of the people. They collect the mana of every law-abiding citizen in the nation, as well as a significant portion of the White Lady's mana, placing it all in one large pool at the center of Manataria District, overlooked by the Equawood tree. Each member of the council dives into the pool, absorbing as much mana as they can without becoming a mana deity. It's believed this forces members of the Yedith Council to comply with the wishes and demands of the people, as well as makes it impossible for them to do anything that would work against them. It's thought the White Lady's contribution prevents mana deity transformation, as well as forcing compliance in the Council, preventing them from doing anything that would be bad for the White Lady. In early Invardium history, ablution ceremonies were carried out using the Lake of Purity. It was when the Council realized the pilgrimage to the Lake of Purity was not worth the time spent that they had a new pool built, specially made for the ceremonies. For most in Vardium, however, it's seen as a sign of deep respect for their culture, heritage, and history if someone, especially someone politically involved, visits the Lake of Purity, now the Pool of Origins. The currency of Invardia is the Invardium bit. The bit is a cubic currency that is Invardia's primary currency, but some other nations have deemed that it carries some weight there, such as the Takari and Serendites, though the only nation that recognizes it as their official currency is Invardia. Mecha beasts are a highly contentious subject in Invardia, swayed greatly by Invardia's history with them. In recent years, certain types of mecha beasts have slowly become incorporated into Invardium society, particularly amongst Invardia's elites, but continue to remain divisive.